What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fit, Healthy, and most of all, Happy podcast. I'm your coach and host, Josh, here with
his co-host and co-coach, KG, and I'm in the house.
Welcome to the first episode of 2025 of the Fit, Healthy, and most of all, Happy podcast. We're excited to have you here, and I'm really excited about this episode. I took some good time mapping out 10 unique ways to become fitter, healthier, and happier in 2025. We like to do some version of this episode every year as our lives and mindsets and experiences change. And these 10, I think, are going to be really powerful. They're going to get you on the right track as we start this year. And let's jump into it. So my first one is controlling yourself long enough to do what must be done. So what I mean by this is if you live your life just doing what you feel like doing, you're not going to get very far. A big part of having any personal success or doing what's better for yourself is doing that harder thing in the moment that you know is ultimately better for you. And what I mean by that is, in a day, most people, if you want to live how you want to feel like living, will sleep in. They'll say, I don't care. I need to be at work at 9. They can reprimand me. What are they going to do? Fire me. They'll be all rushed and then they'll feel bad about it. They'll go grab some junky food that makes them feel better. They'll sit around all day. And then at night, they'll doom scroll, watching the news, watching whatever, feeling bad about themselves, wondering why it isn't them. Then to make themselves feel better, they'll spend all their money ordering all this food at night, staying up late, maybe drinking or doing some kind of drug, and then rinse and repeat. Is that person going to be happier than someone who is challenging themselves to wake up on time? They're excited about the morning. They're starting their breakfast with a great meal. They're getting to the gym before work starts. They're showing up at work hungry, ready to get after it, ready to work towards they want to be. When they get home, they're spending time with family and friends. They're building themselves up. They're really working towards their goals. They have an idea of where they want to be in life. They're celebrating life. Like, everything that person did in that day was harder. It's hard to wake up. It's hard to get to the gym. It's hard to make a good meal. But the more regularly you do these things and the more you can have that higher version of thought to say, what do I actually need? How can I take care of myself? And instead of just living like in terms of being like a hedonist and just doing exactly what you want all the time, saying, let's do what I actually wish for myself, what I actually truly want deep down, which is to do things. And like, I know this applies to you because you're listening to an episode on 10 ways to become fitter, healthier, and happier. So if you want to do this, really live in line with how you wish you lived, not how you want to live in the moment. Be stronger than those little moments of weakness. And it's not to say you can't do fun things. It's not to say you can't enjoy a meal out or have a lazy night. But in general, do things that actually propel you forward in terms of fitness, health, and happiness. And don't be the one holding yourself back from where you know you can be.
I'm going to have to say a lot of people really struggle on this part of the journey because they're just always doing the thing that they want to do. And they don't realize that a lot of the people crushing it on their journey, like sometimes they have to take a step back. They have to evaluate the situation, be like, what's going to help me push forward? Like they think that we're just always eating whatever you want and just like doing everything that you want to be doing. But sometimes you just have to sit there and be like, man, what should I be doing? Like, and start to evaluate. And that was very well said. Bringing me into number 2, like I'm a big fan of adding things in, setting big goals, adding new habits. But I think a lot of people forget to get rid of the bad habits and they don't spend as much time thinking about that. So I'm willing to bet every single person here listening has one thing that's holding them back in their fitness journey, their health journey, or their happiness journey, and we just need to get rid of that. So I would really encourage you to spend a few minutes sitting down thinking, what habits do I need to break and then recreate? So for example, let's say every day your Starbucks frappe, latte, whatever, 500 calorie filled drink, we need to break that. How are we going to do that? Create an action plan forward, maybe stick to regular coffee, maybe start doing it at home, whatever the case is. Some people may not like hearing me say this, but it's the reality and it's true. Josh was talking about doom scrolling, and I think this is something that holds so many people back. You wake up, the first thing you do is you look at your phone. You're automatically letting other people kind of take over your entire world. You're not focused on yourself at all. You spend 30 minutes just seeing what other people are getting up to, and it honestly leaves you feeling a lot worse, even though it gives you a bit of a jolt of dopamine and happiness for, a second or two. And then, obviously just, over caffeinating could be another thing. Just whatever it is that you feel is holding you back, sit down, evaluate it, make that change, and start to focus on one thing at a time. This week, my challenge is going to be no phone for the first 30 minutes. I'm going to put it somewhere else. I'm not going to put it near me. I'm not going to check it. That's going to be my task for this week. I promise you, a couple months down the road, you take one thing at a time, you will be a completely different person, and it makes such a difference on your journey.
Yeah, and I just love the example of multiplying anything by 365. So like Kyle said, if I'm getting a crazy Starbucks drink and some of them are 600 calories and I'm doing this daily, this is probably costing me $10 first of all, which is going to be a sizable amount of money. That's almost $4,000 a year. But if I'm having 600 calories 365 days of the year, I'm having 219,000 extra calories from this liquid where I could have a black coffee or coffee with milk and completely negate this. And it's not to say you can't have a fun drink. You can absolutely do that. But it's these autonomous habits that we do without thinking that we can really normalize that can be a big detriment to us. Like Kyle said, if every day you're doing something, you're going to see the effects of that. And if you can just get in front of that, and even let's say every day you come home from work, you grab an ice cream and you just do it, you don't think about it, these can stack up. And it's like, how can I break some of these? And instead, how can I replace them with some positive habits? Instead of grabbing that ice cream where you're having 500 calories, give or take, you could say, every day when I get home, I'm going to get out, I'm going to walk, I'm going to listen to an audiobook. Not only are you walking, getting healthy activity and building yourself up with that, not only are you getting outside in nature, you're also listening to an audiobook where you're improving your mindset and you're getting motivated. Whereas one thing is tearing you away from your goals, one is building you up. So if you can just evaluate, do I have any of these habits that are killing me, and how can I change them up, and how can I lead them to more productive ones? Like, this is the easiest way. And even the book Atomic Habits, we're really big on this one. I think that's a great reread into the new year. It really speaks about how small things done consistently lead to amazing compounded explosive growth. And just the same, small bad things done consistently leads to horrible, horrendous, massive potential wasted. So this is a big one. Don't overthink this one. Everyone has different examples. So this is a big one we're really passionate about. The next is cooking more and just limiting eating out. And I think a great example with this is I had a weird period of life where I was definitely over ordering food in. It was through my wife's first pregnancy, and it was just so convenient. And when you're scrolling there, you're like, oh, I get this healthy thing, or I could just go grab this other thing. And you're paying $50 for it, which, as we've done math, if we do 50 times 365, it's going to be a lot of money, as you can see. And on top of that, I'm eating something I probably shouldn't be eating. It's just so easy and convenient where I could get a really healthy bowl. I could click a pizza. I could click anything else. It's almost too much power. It's a little bit dangerous. And it's not to say if you're in a big rush, you should never order out. But in general, if you can say this isn't the greatest habit for me, it's not building me up or pushing me forward, this is something you can really look to be aware of and perhaps to reevaluate. And in general, by cooking, prepping, being on top of your fitness and health, and just making more of a habit to prep food, have healthier food around, in general, it's a lot easier when you already have everything prepared. You can cook things you're really excited for. Myself, like, I love having a ton of stir fry. I previously used to just get a bunch of tortillas, which of course maybe may not be the greatest thing in the world, but I would just cook up just a preset thing of turkey, of just turkey in general, and ground turkey rather. And I would just make these little tacos, and I loved it. It was really fun. It was absolutely awesome. And it's just super simple. And in general, when I do this, I'm eating better, I'm feeling better, things are building me up. It goes such a long way. So I love eating out a ton, don't get me wrong, but even every morning I'll just make my yogurt. And even recently as I traveled, I was aware it'd be about $20 a meal, and generally it's really hard to find a healthy meal out. And instead I'll just buy a bunch of yogurt, I'll buy some granola, I'll buy some berries, and each and every day I'm starting my day off with a healthier meal. I'm feeling better. It's cheaper. It's more convenient. It sets me in the right mindset. And when you have this attitude of like, I'm already ahead, I'm eating healthier, it's easier to carry that momentum. So if you've been overdoing eating out and not eating out about as healthy as you can, you have a fantastic opportunity to really address this and perhaps make it a goal to cook more, to prep more, maybe even to try meal prep. But this is something I'm pretty big on and something I'm always constantly reevaluating with myself.
I love it. Yeah, Josh covered the nutrition quite well there. I'm going to jump into one thing workout wise, and it's just to stop selling yourself short in the gym. So I find there's a number of different ways people do this. Like, first and most importantly, a lot of people just skip movements. They'll skip the harder movements. They'll skip the last exercise. They'll skip out on abs, maybe cardio. Like, it's just so easy to kind of quit earlier or just like take that shortcut. A lot of times people will also skip out on the weight that they use, right? So they're using weight way too light. Maybe even some reps, you're supposed to do 10 reps, you only do 8, and you're like, oh, that's fine. And unfortunately, like, I love that Josh started talking about the power of compounding, because even as I'm thinking of what to say for this, I just thought of like, if every single workout you just skip something, that could be potentially 300 times you've skipped a movement in the gym or this year. If you go that extra rep every single exercise for the next 300 plus days, like that's going to be thousands of reps. That's going to set you apart. That's going to put you further ahead. Every single workout, it's just going to compound. Every single time that you go one more, you decide to just put on some extra weight, maybe you do a few extra reps or whatever it is, you're going to be a completely different person. And you're going to not only just be stronger, but mentally you're always going to be avoiding taking shortcuts, and it's going to make a big difference. And I promise you, your results will be better.
Go the extra mile. It's never crowded there. And I saw this firsthand when I started lifting. I lifted with a ton of my high school buddies, and some people push it more than others. Some people didn't. Some people would skip some days, skip some movements. They wouldn't like doing legs, and you could really see those results in real time. And once again, it's not a battle of comparison, but even with yourself, it's like, where could I be if I actually stopped selling myself short with those couple reps? I started giving a little bit more. So if you want to be more jacked in the new year, this is a great way to do it. So another fun one I have, and I think this is more of a happiness one, but this is to actually have things you're looking forward to. Find things that actually inspire you to grow and push forward. So really avoid living a groundhog day. And what I mean by that is, I think too many people feel like Monday to Friday is just rinse and repeat of the same situation. They're going to work, they're driving home, and it blurs through. It's not exciting. Maybe the weekend you go out party or something, and it's not really nurturing and fulfilling you. And things to look forward to could be big trips. They could be small trips. They could be seeing friends. They could be different goals. Maybe you want to run a 5K, do a powerlifting meet, lift with buddies, like whatever it is. But find things in and out that really get you excited, that push you forward. And this is something I personally enjoy. And like when I know I have these things coming up, it motivates me to be better for them, to get more inspired, to kind of build out to them. And the more you can kind of stack your calendar, and like even as a kid, you'd be like, my birthday's here, I'm doing this here, we're doing this here. And as an adult, I think it's really important you do just the same. So load those calendars. If it's concerts, if it's trips, if it's time with friends, if it's special events, if it's hosting, like find things that really motivate you forward. And you can actually be amazed at how doing these things can really motivate you in other areas, in your self-development, in your fitness, and your health. So it's a more of an exotic one, but it's something that I find helps me quite a lot.
Something I always like to do, like start the week, look at the calendar. What do we got going on? What can we plan? How can we, spice things up a little bit? And, weekly, monthly, yearly, great thing to do for sure. Next up is just getting some real accountability, especially this year. It's so easy to just go off and nobody will really care about what you're doing on your fitness journey. No one will hold you accountable. And unfortunately, that is why a lot of people don't succeed. And honestly, like the first step would just be trying to find a circle of people around you who will maybe go to the gym with you, who will eat healthy meals, who you can relate to, where you don't feel like you're an outcast or you're just someone, crazy because you're eating healthier and because you're trying to become a better, fitter and healthier and happier version. So I really want to stress that, like, getting your partner on the same page, letting them understand, parents, whatever the case is, like, even coworkers. I really think it makes such a big difference. Like they don't have to be on the same journey as you, but just simply put, having those people kind of indirectly hold you accountable is game changing. But even a level deeper than that, I really think that the best thing you'll ever do is pay for accountability. Because if you have, let's say, a friend, you're like, hey, hold me accountable when I, eat that cake. It's like, they don't really care as much. Like they're not really invested. And the truth is most people don't actually want to call you out because it's uncomfortable. Whereas when you pay for, someone to say, hey, we're getting you results, that's what you're investing in, and I will do everything it takes. That's what we do. That's what we specialize in. And there's no better time to get that accountability, because right now we're actually 2 days into our New Year's challenge. We have had a lot of people reach out and ask, am I too late? Like, is it okay to join? And so for today and today only, we actually did open, a few spots. It's a discounted rate. You'll still be eligible to be able to take part, to win thousands in prizes. And the biggest thing is that you will get guaranteed results. You get incredible accountability, and you're not going to want to be on the sidelines for this, because 30 days from now, you're going to be thanking yourself with the new habits you built, with how great you feel. And all you have to do is message us with the keyword New Year Challenge to Instagram at Colossus Fit. COLOSSUSFIT. The greatest thing you'll ever do for yourself this year is getting accountability, getting support, and I promise you won't regret it.
Yeah, we're here to support you. And the best thing you can do is have someone on your team pushing you towards these goals. So that was incredibly well said. The next tip I have is to actually see things through. And a great way to do this is with accountability, because all of us have started goals we haven't finished. All of us have had announced things and had dreams that perhaps we let slip away from us, that maybe we didn't believe in, or maybe we didn't put the effort towards achieving things. But for every 100 people who walk the path, very few people see it through. And I find the new year is such a great example of this. Everyone's on this quest to do more, and it's easy to forget these things. It's easy to neglect them when things get hard. But if you're someone who sees things through, if you figure things out, if you accept failure, if you're willing to pivot, if you're willing to actually get support from an expert to see it through, you're going to see so much more success. Like anything else, perhaps you don't know how to swim. If you just go to the pool and start trying to figure it out, you are done for. And it's funny, I actually used to be a swim instructor and a lifeguard for a long time. And naturally, when people swim, they just assume if I kick harder, I go faster. And they're bending their knees, and you'll see new people swimming if you are a swimmer, and they make these big splashes. It's inefficient. To swim well, you actually want your leg dead straight. You want your toes pointed. You want to really limit drag from the water. You want to be flat. You need to know how to breathe. There's so much that goes into it. It's going to be very hard just to figure it out. And you could drown if you're doing it incorrectly. If you just jump in a lake and say, I'm going to figure it out, that's not how it works. And people will drown in over information. They'll be stuck on what the best nutrition protocol is. They'll be stuck on whether they're doing the right workout regimen, how much cardio they should be doing. And it can drown you and really demotivate you away from where you can be. And you'll just quit on yourself. So that's where actually seeing things through, giving yourself the support to make that happen, that's how you really realize it on the other end. And you can really start to unlock even that basic in this analogy of being able to swim. And then from there, you could take it different ways. You could be more competitive. You could work on certain strokes. But the main thing is really knowing that what you're doing is right and that you're actually seeing that effective progress so you can keep your head afloat.
Beautifully well said. And I'm going to jump into number 8. I know we've been talking about habits, habit creation. It's just simply put, focus on proper habit creation. And I wanted to talk about this for a minute or two because I know a lot of times people, they really do have the right intention. You say you're going to do something, you want to do it, you have everything in place to do it, you just don't do it. And you have to ask yourself, why is that? And a lot of times it's our minds and our bodies, we operate subconsciously. I think it's like 80+% of the decisions we make is just, without thinking. It's just what we're used to doing. And so I really encourage you to try to figure out how to make and break a habit by actually getting in there. So for example, let's say you say, I'm going to weigh in every day, I'm going to eat better, I'm going to lift more. And you have all these great things. It's just okay, how do we take this one thing such as weighing in? How do we make this a habit? And how do I set myself up for success? It could be putting the scale in a spot where every morning when you walk to the washroom, you see it there. Okay, we've got this habit down. We're doing 5 weigh-ins a week. I've got that checked off. Now on to the next one. And a lot of people just don't understand how habits are created and what goes into it. To save you some time and me not talking about it for an hour here, I really do recommend Atomic Habits, like Josh said, or The Power of Habit. Both really, really good books to help you understand why you do things, why you don't do things, and how to build it. And I promise you, 1 year from now, you'll thank yourself because you'll actually be sticking to it. Even with the challenge that we're doing, we're trying heavily to focus on habit creation and things that are going to help you in the long run, not just these random things that you're never going to do for life and at all. It's going to be focused on let's build this habit, let's stick to it, and then let's continue to do it after the first 30 days.
And for my next tip, I'm just going to read this out. I'm not even going to elaborate, but start in January. Start in your 40s. Start on Friday. Start at 5 p.m. Start on the 31st. Start late. Start.
Well said. I like that. And I'm going to leave you with one here as well. Stick to the basics. Don't overcomplicate it. There will be a million fad diets thrown your way, a million different exercises on Instagram. Here's what you should do. Here's how to do it. Here's why you should do it. And it's all stuff that is just not going to actually work. So I really encourage you, focus on what matters. And I really encourage you to keep showing up to this podcast because every week we're going to digest what actually matters, such as proper workouts, proper nutrition, proper supplementation, cardio, all that great stuff. But if you overcomplicate it, you won't stick to it and you're unfortunately going to fail. And with that, thank you so much for spending time with us today. Once again, last opportunity for the New Year Challenge. Send us a message with the keyword New Year Challenge to our Instagram. I promise you this will be the greatest thing you'll do for yourself yourself this year. So many people are going to be crushing it alongside us on this challenge with thousands of dollars worth of prizes. You will not want to miss out, and can't wait to see you in the next episode. Peace.